got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet at. Dude, was sitting up sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same guy. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up, McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to move. Dude went in his bag and whatever. They went to try to jump this dude, man, and he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah, it wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, that dude that got unalive, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. He had to break. It's not to the point that he brought. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was community track meet, bro. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right on his person, bro.
Well, now there's a lot of information coming out in regards to this Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony situation, right? Everybody knows that Carmelo Anthony is now in prison on a $1 million bond, right? $1 million, right? For the unaliving of Eric Metcalf, right? We know, we had alleged that Eric Metcalf laid hands on him and he told him not to, and he ultimately jigged him with an object. And ultimately, Eric Metcalf was unalive, right? But there's a witness, as you can see, that came out against this situation. So this was a guy that was saying that he was under the tent the whole time with his kids, and he witnessed the whole thing. Now I hope that this isn't a charade. I hope this man is who he say he was, right? Because he's alleging that he saw everything, right? And they're saying, right, that it happened at an event, not on school grounds. It was at a place where they have football games, track. They can have school sanctioned events there, but it wasn't on the school premises, right? So we don't know, according to Texas law, how big the knife was. It was 5.5 inches. We don't know any of that yet, right? But what we do know is this Saturday, they laid Austin Metcalf to rest, right? And, the news was there. This thing has went international. But let's check out what the news is saying about Austin Metcalf at the time. And remember, Carmelo Anthony's family fired their old lawyers, the 2 black lawyers, and they hired a new lawyer out of Dallas. And this guy's top notch, and I'll explain to you why I think that was a smart choice, right? Let's watch this. We'll come right back.
An emotional farewell in Frisco. Good evening, everybody. I'm Casey Stiegel. Private funeral services were held today for the teen student athlete who was stabbed to death at a school track meet earlier this month. 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed back on April 2nd. A teen student from another school has been charged with his murder. The crime has been thrust into the national spotlight, bringing some controversies along with it. On Monday, the alleged killer will make his first appearance before a judge. Fox 4's Amelia Jones is following all of the developments for us tonight. She joins us live courthouse where that hearing will happen. Amelia.
Hi there, Casey. At Monday's hearing, we expect Carmelo Anthony's lawyers to ask for a bond reduction so he can get out of jail. But today in Frisco, the focus was on comforting the friends and family of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. People filed into Hope Fellowship Church in Frisco to say one final goodbye to 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Some people wore football jerseys to the service as Metcalf was a member of the Frisco Memorial High School varsity football team. He was also a member of the track and field team. During a track meet earlier this month, Metcalf was killed after he was stabbed in the chest during a fight and died in his twin brother's arms. The fight was with 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, a student athlete from a different Frisco high school. Arrest documents say the fight was over a seating dispute in the bleachers. Anthony was charged with first-degree murder, and his bond was set at $1 million.
Well, obviously, it's a very tragic case when you have a 17-year-old boy charged happening during a school event.
Toby Shook is a criminal defense attorney not involved in this case. A bond hearing is set for Monday, where the defense team plans to ask the judge to lower it. Shook explained some of the factors the judge will have to consider.
Obviously, in this case, there is not criminal history, so that's going to weigh in his favor to lowering a bond. The judge will also consider if the defendant's a flight risk. So the defense attorney is going to put on family members that can show he had lived for some years in Frisco, that his family's there, that he's not a flight risk. He has what they call ties to the community.
The prosecution will also have a chance to speak, and they're going up against a new defense attorney for Anthony. Shook told Fox 4 that the family hired Dallas-based criminal defense attorney Mike Howard to represent Anthony.
He's a very experienced criminal lawyer, done lots of trials. He's very good. So that was a good decision, I believe, on the family's part to get an experienced criminal lawyer who's actually tried criminal cases to defend his son.
This case has already captured national attention. Shook believes this will make the case difficult as it moves forward, especially when it comes time for jury selection if the case goes to trial, which Shook believes it will.
It has a danger of poisoning the jury pool so that you'll have more jurors who are exposed and go in with opinions, so they have to be very, very careful during jury selection.
Shook is also a former prosecutor, and he's confident that the DA's office will put the top prosecutor on the case, so he says both sides will be well represented. We reached out to Mike Howard's law firm for a statement on this case, and we're still waiting to hear back.
So we know that they got rid of those two lawyers because one of them was mixed up in a lot of some fraud stuff that's going on down there in the South. So they had to get rid of her because it was a bad look. But I like the fact that they brought the new lawyer on, and they brought a W lawyer on, the W man. Down there in Texas, for the severity of this case, I think that they should have a W lawyer, right? Because he can play to the sentiments of the W folks down there. Mind you, if they don't get a change of venue to go into Cullen County, it's going to have to go on in Frisco. So in Frisco, he's not going to get a fair trial. So you can't have two black lawyers representing him. I'm just using common sense, right? So he hired this lawyer. This lawyer is good, right? But there's a lot of people that's upset, right, that he raised $300K, right, or his GoFundMe. But we got to remind people, right, he raised $300K, but what about all these other people that raised $300K, right? Y'all remember the unaliving down there at that church in South Carolina with Dylan Roof? Y'all remember this?
In a 2-hour taped confession with FBI agents, Roof explained why he chose Charleston's historic Emmanuel AME Church.
Is that why you chose that church?
Oh, yes.
Because you were looking for African Americans.
Right. I wasn't going to go to another church, because there could have been white people there.
Had you thought about going, hey, I guess more bullet people?
Oh, no, I was worn out. There's no way.
In Roof's car, law enforcement also recovered American and Confederate flags, empty ammunition boxes, and a firearm along with a laser sight attachment. Roof allegedly bought that weapon at Shooter's Choice in West Columbia, South Carolina. The gun store's manager testified in court on Monday that Roof cleared the required 3-day federal background check to receive. He says Roof bought it and 5 magazines on April 16, 2015, nearly 2 months before.
Are you glad you did it?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm glad I did it, but I've done it, so.
You said it was something you had to do?
Yeah, I had to do it.
Was ultimately notified by the federal government not to sell a gun to Roof because of a arrest, but that notification came 12 days after. The government should wrap up its case this week.
Mind you, Dylan Roof went into a church and unalived 9 people. 9 people, right? And the country was divided again. There was a lot of W folks that was out there making excuses for this man, right? Y'all remember when the police took him to get something to eat? They took him to Burger King to eat. So, I mean, just think about this, right? How can blacks really get a fair trial or anything in this country when you still got this kind of stuff going on? I mean, they took this man to Burger King, right? And if it wasn't more insult to injury, when he confessed to what he did, right? It says on June 25th, 2015, the website Newswatch 33 published an article titled "Charleston Church Shooter Dalen Root Receives $4 million in donations from supporters." According to that article, a group called Citizens somehow managed to quietly drum up an exorbitant sum of $4 million in donations for an accused racially motivated mass shooter in just over a week without any other media coverage outlets taking notice. But this is the thing. Y'all got the audacity to be, I mean, this guy brazenly, blatantly went into a church and unalived 9 people, church people, not street people, not thugs, not criminals, people worshiping the Most High, right? He went in there. So that shows how hypocritical you guys are. It don't matter if we thugs. It don't matter if we worshiping, religious worshiping folks. Y'all don't care. Y'all see us always the same. But then we get to Daniel Penny, right? Y'all remember Daniel Penny when he unalived that brother on the train with mental health issues, right? He was messed up in his head, right? He didn't hurt anybody, but he was saying that he was, right? I didn't have a problem with Daniel Penny subduing him, right? But once he had him subdued and the other people was holding his hands and feet, why didn't he take his foot off the gas? He kept mashing on the gas until that brother was unalived. That's what he did. Everybody saw it. But watch this. Daniel Penny raises over $2.9 million in donations for legal defense for subway choking unalived. The man who was being charged with the subway choking that caused homeless man Jordan Neely's unaliving is publicly raising money for his legal defense, right? So he was able to raise $2.9 million, right? And this is the thing, right? Jordan Neely was acting belligerent, out of control. He had mental health issues. So once you guys grabbed him and brought him to the ground, why y'all just didn't hold him till the cops got there? Why did you keep squeezing on his larynx until he checked out? My whole thing is, it's intent when you keep going, right? And keep squeezing and squeezing. He had no reason to be afraid for his life. They were holding his hands and his feet, and at some point you could see his lifeless body. He stopped. He still was holding, right? But he got away with it, right? So this is the thing. Like, how can Carmelo Anthony get a fair trial in Frisco when we have no way of knowing if these people don't have the judge, the DA, all of them have preconceived notions about this young man based off the mental climate of this country. We have no way of knowing that, right? So now he hired a lawyer. They're going to try to get a change of venue, man, but this thing gets ugly. Let's listen to what this alleged witness said again. Check this out.
Got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra with it. Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same guy. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up. McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man. Dude went in his bag and whatever. They went to try to jump this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, that dude that got unalived, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. It's not to the point that he brought her. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was a community track meet, bro. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right to have her on his person, bro.
So I hope that this witness is legit. One thing I do know in this country with the media, they'd have had some legit video to prove the accusations of Carmelo, it would have already been out. It would have already been out, right? So we don't have no video. We got the twin brother from the rip saying that his brother first touched Carmelo. Now we have a witness, right? We have a witness saying that he saw everything. We have his father saying what kind of family does he have? Who would raise somebody like that? But now he's been charged with essay assault. That's bad character. We know that him and the mother isn't together, right? We know that Carmelo comes from a family that's been together for 17 years, right? They live. We know that Frisco is a community, an upscale community with people with money, right? Medium income is very high. They live there. They have an intact family. But it's funny how when Will Kane was interviewing the wife, she almost blew all that up. Well, we know we see your husband in the back. No. They're dysfunctional. They have dysfunction within their family. The other family doesn't, right? But somehow we get judged in a negative light because this is the way you're supposed to see black folks, right? You even had black folks going against us and calling him a thug and calling him all kinds of names before all the facts came out. So the question I'm asking is, will he get a fair trial? So him firing those two lawyers and hiring this guy was a smart move because you're going into a courtroom where it's already a race issue, where you have a lot of people that got preconceived notions about us. So he hired a W lawyer to go in to speak to them, to represent him and speak to them at the same time, right? Where maybe they can see things clearly and not through a racial lens. They laid Austin Metcalf to rest on Saturday. You know, like I said, rest in peace. And I'm not a savage, so rest in peace and condolences to his family. I don't think that anybody, whether black or white, wants to send their children to an event and you get a phone call that your child is unalived, or you get a phone call that your child has unalived somebody. I don't think none of us as parents want that. So I'm not a savage. So I say rest in peace to them. I'm also praying for Carmelo Anthony and his family to get justice. We hope at this bond hearing that he can get bail. We're hoping for bail. So, but I need you guys to keep your ear to the ground. If you haven't donated, make sure you donate. We got to support our people, right or wrong, weak or strong. We got to be on the ground because if not, they will railroad us. So many black men and black girls, black women are in prison because they railroaded us and we didn't get justice. Still in this country in 2025, in order for us to get justice, a lot of times whenever there's a black and white issue, we have to have national and international coverage. We have to almost embarrass the country and force their hand to give us justice. We're not in a racial utopia. We haven't arrived there, right? So a lot of you black folks that's going against him without all the facts, man, just stop it. Just wait for all the facts to come out. And shout out to some of you black conservatives that finally came to your senses and you stood on business and told the truth. You see how a lot of your followers is going against you because they only deal with you when you tote the line that they want you to tote. But as more of this come out, we'll report more of this, man. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony's lawyer and the family. Hopefully he can get bond. He's 17. He doesn't have a criminal record. He comes from an intact family with no criminal records. So that's good character. We know that he's not a flight risk. So his bail should be lowered. Right? So as more of this come out, I'll report more of this. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till next time. Peace.